Today we're going to show you how to do a puncture repair in an inflatable boat. In this case we're going to do a puncture on a true kit inflatable, and the fabric is Valmex. The first step is to find the puncture, and for that we use soapy water. In this case this is a dinghy from someone that's purchased a boat off us, and they've already located the puncture, done a repair, but they haven't done the repair properly, so it's still leaking. Bit of soapy water in a spray bottle, and that'll help you find it. You can see the bubbles coming out here, and it's worthwhile spraying the whole boat just to see if there's any other punctures. In this case they've got a little slit underneath the repair that they've done here. Because this boat's got an existing repair on it, we need to remove that patch, so we do that with the heat. So gently warm it up with a heat gun, very slowly. You don't want to damage the fabric, so just slowly bring it up to temperature. That'll soften the glue, and then you'll be able to peel it off quite easily. You can see that's starting to warm up a little bit there now. As the glues get warm, it's quite easy to peel it off. It's a big reason why we use welded seam boats. And here I can see the nick in the fabric here. You might not be able to see it from there, but there's a nick in the fabric here where the owner of the dinghy's just run into something, and it's about a 5 to 8 mil slit in the fabric there. So what do we need to do this puncture repair? So we'll run through it here. A heat gun, tools to apply some pressure to the repair, a solvent called MEK. So this is Bostik Unigrip 999HR, and this is the crosslinker, which is called Desmodur RFE. So they're the two key things to do in a really good repair. But it depends what your fabric is. You may need another product, or in some countries you'll be sourcing whatever you can locally to do the repair. Fabric, ideally exactly the same colour and the same type of fabric as what your boat's made of. Masking tape, disposable brush, scissors, and some gloves to keep your hands safe from the glues and solvent. Next step is to cut an appropriately sized patch according to the size of your puncture. So once you've cut an appropriately sized patch for the boat, try and do it square with straight sides because that's easier to mask up, but round the corners off, and that stops the corners from peeling off. If you've got a sharp corner, it peels off a little bit easier. Then put the patch over, make sure the hole's more or less in the center of it, and then with a pencil mark an outline of the shape of the patch. Next step is to mask up the pencil outline. So do it nice and accurately, right on the line. Use a good quality masking tape. In this case I'm using the blue 3M masking tape. Sticks well to the inflatable boat fabric. And then with those rounded corners, you just got to rip off little bits of tape and make sure you put the curves in there so you don't have any excess glue outside the patch. It's an exact match for the patch. You see that there? So that's a perfect fit. Next step is to clean both surfaces, both the boat and the patch, with the MEK solvent. So make sure you've got your protective rubber gloves on and just get a good amount of MEK on that. This is the bit of the preparation that a lot of people miss out on, is making sure that the surface is perfectly clean from contaminants. There could be, obviously, where there's detergent from the soapy water, there could be petrol or diesel or something from an engine, could be anything on there, so you've got to make sure it's nice and clean, and that's going to make the glues adhere properly. Next step is to mix your glue up really well. So we use 10% of the cross polymer with the glue, and then stir it for a couple of minutes, stir it really well. And then get your brush ready. So you've got a new disposable brush. And what we do is just cut the bristles in half, so right across the middle there. And the shorter bristles mean that you can even out when you apply the glue, you can apply it a lot more evenly with shorter, stiffer bristles. Now with that cut down brush, we're going to apply the glue to both surfaces, both the patch and the boat. And you want to apply it reasonably thick, but nice and even. You don't want it to be a big blob in one corner and thin at the other corner. It's much better if you apply it, say, just long steady brush strokes like that. And then you do the same to the patch. So you've got a similar amount of glue, again nice and even on both surfaces. It's a contact adhesive, so it requires the adhesive to be on both surfaces. And then once that's applied, you leave that to set for 10 to 20 minutes. It has to at least have tacked off, so that if you were to touch it with your knuckle, nothing sticks to it. It's pretty much dry. Before that glue's fully dried off, just remove the masking tape. Because you don't want to be putting the patch over and overlapping it with the masking tape. Right, next step, as this is a heat activated glue, is we need to gently warm both surfaces up with the heat gun. You can use a hairdryer. You don't need to get it hot, you just need to warm that glue up, and that gets it all ready to go. I normally just put the heat gun from a distance, not too hot, and just warm it up for about a minute. You're only gently warming it. Then you apply the patch, and you got to try and get it in exactly the same spot that you've marked out. Like that. And then what I like to do is again just gently heat it up from the outside. Then you just warms the thing right through. And then the last step is to apply pressure to that patch. And I've got a quality roller here, but you could use the handle of a chisel or a hammer, or just something where you can apply as much pressure as you can as possible, and just spend a good minute just working the two surfaces of glue together. Basically, you're trying to fuse those two surfaces of glue into one. So I've got that tool. I've also got this tool here, which we use for getting into any tricky corners. The more you work it, the better that bond will be. Right, now the last step is just to get your soapy water again and to test it out. And you can see there, that's 100% airtight now. There's no bubbles coming out at all. So that's it. Reasonably simple, but you've got to have the right tools and you've got to spend the time and you've got to do the preparation properly to make sure this is 100% airtight. See you next time.